We are living in the era of mental health awareness, but it seems to be limited to just that awareness. Employers, especially HR leaders, are scrambling to understand what mental health really means so that they can design support programs for employees. And employees, those that are more self aware, are trying to go on a journey to understand what it means to be mentally healthy. How do we bridge this gap? And is it really fair to expect that employers who employ hundreds and thousands of employees get a nuanced understanding of their employees' mental health? Let's close the loop on this. Joining me on Close the Loop is Sandeep Kochhar. Sandeep is the CEO of Blewminds Consulting. He's worked with more than 20,000 corporate employees over the last 10 years, coaching them across all levels of the hierarchy, and also has worked in leadership development and is one of the foremost experts on mental health in India. Sandeep, welcome to Close the Loop.
Thank you, Srini.
So mental health, it seems to be a phrase that everyone is aware of, but no one really knows what it means. Do you concur with that?
Yeah, I think initially, maybe in the 80s or 90s also, mental health used to be that you're not mentally stable maybe. And slowly the word also changed, and so did the understanding of the word. So mental health could be, for example, I'm not able to control my emotions.
Right.
It could also be I'm not able to control my thoughts. So the definition has become much more broader now. And how we are dealing with it. Yes, it's a tough one to even understand, leave alone address.
Right. One of the things that we find, so at Loop we launched a mental health sensitization course, and you'll be surprised, more than 1,000 HR leaders and managers have signed up in the last 1 year to go through that course.
Wow.
So it leads me to believe that we are pretty much starting from zero, and I think traditionally most companies have had these EAP or employee assistance programs. But truly, do you believe that these kinds of programs make an impact?
I think suppose, for example, if you look at if there is an employee assistance helpline, how many employees will call? We don't know, but
Right.
I think it's just one more avenue available for the employee.
Right.
Some of them may not be able to call for reasons of being, with fear of being judged, or
Right.
Maybe they're not okay to open up to someone. But I think we need more and more avenues to help people become more aware and also address this issue.
Right.
So I think in some ways, yes, the kind of interventions that are being done now are obviously increasing. You obviously can't expect a bot to understand if a person's health is okay or not. But at the same time, that also could be another method by which you could, anonymously allow someone to just share.
Right.
So I think there are a lot of methods to do, and most HR leaders today are waking up to the reality that it's a problem. In fact, I was reading an article about how many people are suffering through this.
Right.
The reported data shows that 3 out of 10 people are suffering through mental health issues. But in the corporate world, my guess is now when I'm coaching leaders, a lot of them are struggling. So I would say that it is much higher. It may be even 50 to 60% people going through mental health issues.
Right.
But they're not able to share it either with their company, and some are not able to share with their family as well.
And why is that? What is that barrier? Like, is it because they feel like they'll be judged?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now, for example, if let's say I have a mental health issue, if I go and tell my manager that, look, I'm taking an off today to take a appointment with a psychiatrist
Yeah.
or a therapist,
Yeah.
Obviously the boss will start looking at this person differently and say this person is not mentally okay.
Right.
So I think that is a very huge barrier that is there in terms of the perception of there is a stigma attached to it even today, that if somebody is suffering through a mental health illness, there is something really grossly wrong. But it's like a normal, like for example, I'm having a cough right now, and I just went
take a medicine for that.
Yeah, I just went to the hospital and the doctor just gave me a over-the-counter medicine. But there's nothing like this is not easily available for, mental health issues. You have to go to a specific hospital, which will have a specific set of people. So the process also itself, I think, is a little daunting sometimes. and hence the person will not want to disclose to his employer
Right.
or her employer that there is a problem, because then their performance appraisals may get impacted, the line manager may get biased,
Right.
the good assignments may not come your way, and then they may start seeing holes in whatever you are doing just
Right.
because they're viewing
It's a
it.
bias. It becomes a bias.
You're viewing it from that lens
Right,
of mental health issues.
Yeah. So how should employers then empower their managers? Like, should managers be like, I mean, every manager cannot become a psychologist, right? So what's the answer? Is it really to say that be sensitive and point them in the right direction towards help? Is that the answer?
I think companies are now doing a lot of trainings on emotional intelligence,
Right.
helping managers and leaders understand what is empathy. But I would say it's even one step further, that in school level also we have not been taught about psychology.
Yes.
If we were taught about, okay, how do I manage my emotions? Can I even label and understand my emotion better? Then it will be very easy for me to understand someone else's emotion. So I think at a school level that should have ideally been done, and that could be done. But now also in the training programs, I see very rare and very few training programs which are focused on psychology or empathy or really understanding emotions. So this, if HR leaders can start to slowly get into running training interventions, or interventions which are focused on just understanding your emotions better.
Right.
I think it will help a lot with line managers also.
Right.
But there's another part to it that, for example, you mentioned engineering managers.
Right.
They are very logical people.
Yeah.
For their own self also,
they apply the logic.
They will negate that emotion.
Right. Right.
So suppose if an engineer is feeling, low today, that person may still will negate that emotion of feeling low and try to move on, even if that emotion is persisting. So I think it's not about the other person. It first starts with me. Am I able to understand my own emotions well enough?
Right.
Only then can I understand someone else's emotions.
Right.
So a lot of cognitive biases come in and we start playing through logic. So I think we need a more beautiful heart to understand, or a more feeling heart to understand what the other person's going through.
Right. If you had to bucket the core issues that you've been able to unearth in the people that you've coached, what would they?
So I think one of them is insecurity, that there is a fear that I may lose my job. There is also a fear that what if they find out?
Find out what?
I think the question and answer are just what if they find out.
What if they find out? Okay.
You don't even need to go what will they find out, because that is where we all get stuck, that what if they find out. So this is one, and the other is that what are they thinking about me?
The external, outside in.
Outside in, yeah. So the other is, am I good enough?
Right.
Whereas there is insecurity within ourselves that, look, do I really deserve to be here? And then also trying to every day justify to yourself that maybe I may make a mistake again. So there's a lot of fears also at play. So these are and then the others are when the emotions, let's say an external situation goes beyond my control. Let's say I make a mistake at work and it becomes a huge escalation. That's when then it triggers something within me, my insecurity increases more. If I am a person who has mental health issues, then my panic attacks will increase.
Right.
And I'll start to get more stressed and anxious about it.
I see. Okay.
These are some of the things I've observed.
So interesting. So if there's an employee out there who's struggling, let's say that the person is completely unaware, not self-aware at all. What are the first 2-3 steps that you would suggest employees out there do to just get more awareness about their own state of mental health?
I think a very simple tool is journaling.
Okay.
Where you basically put down whatever your thoughts and feelings are without judging. Just put it down, try to empty your mind, try to empty your heart. You'll feel a little lighter. The second could be, you go and talk to somebody, your family member, and share, look, I'm feeling a little low today. A lot of times people don't speak to their family members also. I remember coaching somebody who said, look, I whatever I've told you today, I haven't even shared with my wife or my mother or my father. You need to kind of go out and speak up with maybe a friend, again, who may not judge you.
Right.
Or who may not, take advantage of that situation. The other thing could also be that, can I reach out to professional help? So, I go and see a therapist, a psychologist.
Hmm.
And if it's obviously going beyond a particular point, then I go and see a psychiatrist and take medication for it. And most of the mental health issues generally have these, ups and downs where something triggers and then, I go into that state. So I would say that observing self would be the most powerful method where if I can observe myself on a day-to-day basis, I'll find out, okay, why do I behave like this? When somebody in a meeting puts a comment around me and saying that, tries to trigger me or tries to pinch me, then why is it, triggering me? What is that within me that gets triggered?
Right.
Why is the worst getting triggered inside me?
Got it.
Or are there some people who trigger the worst in me? So if you can start to observe yourself, that could be a very powerful method. And the last method would be, I would say, would be meditation, where I start to become more aware of my own self.
Right.
And I start to connect with my true self much more
Right.
than being attached to my actions or my external behaviors.
And in conclusion, Sandeep, if you had to give one piece of advice to, let's say, HR leader or an employer and an individual who's out there working for a company in 2024, what would it be with respect to mental health?
I think instead of artificial intelligence, I would say human intelligence.
Okay.
Where, where if employers can become more humane and can understand that, okay, this is fine. It's okay for someone to have a mental health issue. That is one thing. And then create those, I would call these safe spaces, or we call this, we do a lot of work around this. We call it vulnerability circles, which basically means, can I create a safe space where everybody is vulnerable and they can share the deepest emotion and desire?
Yeah.
Without
being judged.
Without being judged.
Right. Right.
That is very powerful. And when I move out of the room, I should not sneer behind someone's back or make fun of somebody.
Right.
That culture they have to build of safe spaces.
Right.
And, vulnerability circles where people can say anything what they feel like. That's what I would think would be the most beautiful thing that employers could do.
And one advice for employees or individuals?
I think this is a tough one because, how do you open up at workplace? I think maybe have some friends with whom you can share anything under the sun. If you can do that at workplace, it's good. But, otherwise also have some friends with whom you can share. But most importantly, I would say is take professional help.
Right.
It's okay to go to a therapist and to share that, look, I'm not going through the best thing.
Yeah.
I remember when I was going through a clinical depression, I went to the doctor and I told him, look, I'm in a very bad shape. I'm completely depressed and I feel like everything's going down. Just give me some pills to get me out of the situation. Just give me some medicine. And the doctor, he didn't ask me too many, he just asked a few things, but he quickly wrote me some, whatever pills there, and I had it, and I felt I became better. So I think that going towards, getting some professional help will definitely go a long way. More meaningful relationships are, I think, so much required now in this world.
Professional and personal. Both.
Yeah.
Great. So on that note, I think thank you so much for being on Close the Loop, and I'm sure that our audience members on sort of both sides of the spectrum, minus infinity to plus infinity, will surely take away some insights from this. And
hopefully we'll get to zero one day.
Hopefully, yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.